welcome to the
from
district.
Montana.
I just got back from Tallahassee. I go back tomorrow night, and I can't tell you how excited I am and rejuvenated I am to be here with y'all tonight. Before I introduce some of our incredible special guests today, I do want to acknowledge that all three of us as state representatives have proudly supported a ceasefire in Gaza. And though we are state representatives and don't actually vote on those type of issues, we are applying whatever pressure we can on members of Congress and on the White House. Because as the next generation of elected officials at the state level, we believe in peace, we believe in diplomacy, and we believe in people-centered politics. Yes. And that is why I champion every single day right here in this district a platform where we are working for you and fighting for us. And all three of us operate in an environment where we are the super minority. So they might try to silence us, but they will never stop us.
That's right.
Before I ran for office, I worked at Planned Parenthood. And I am so proud to be an abortion out loud advocate every single day. Because decisions about someone's pregnancy, whether it is to have a child or choose adoption or end that pregnancy, should be between me, my family, my doctor, my faith, and not politicians. And definitely not Ron DeSantis.
I will try, but I don't know how long.
And so this year, we are working to codify abortion in Florida state constitution. And so I do want to encourage each one of you to follow Yes for Florida on social media. That is the Yes on 4 campaign. Floridians Protecting Freedom. Help us make this vision a reality. And with that, I want to welcome a very special guest on stage. This Mad Soul Festival is benefiting 4 different organizations, including Florida Access Fund, which is one of our abortion funds here in Central Florida. So please join me in welcoming the board president of Florida Access Network, also known as FAN, Gertie Remy.
Hello, Central Florida! Yes, thank you so much, Rep. Eskanami and everyone else. And thank you, Rep. Frost, for inviting us to this space here. So at Florida Access Network, we know that bodily autonomy belongs to you, and we support abortion care. We shall abortion care. We support your solidify abortion in Florida and put it on the ballot and vote for it so we don't have impacted people that are going through the process of not being able to have abortion access. At abortion access, our table right there, our team members, we work collaboratively to assist everyone that is here that is impacted. Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity. Abortion now! Abortion in Florida! Abortion in November!
Let's hear it for Gertie Remy, everybody! And by the way, I want to give a shout out to my team, People Power from Florida, who is here doing voter registration, vote by mail, election reminders. Please, if you see one of our purple t-shirts, y'all, get registered to vote. You can pre-register when you're 16 and 17 in the Sunshine State. So please make sure you're ready to vote, because I want to ensure that when I go back to Tallahassee next year, that we're going to come back with bigger and better numbers to defend LGBTQ plus rights and trans people, so we can fight against bigotry and hate in all forms, and champion gun safety, champion climate change, help fight for affordable housing and renters' rights. There's so much work we can do if each one of us stay engaged long term. And I'm so excited to introduce someone who really needs no introduction. I have been following her on social media for years, watching her incredible tenacity as she fights back against so many policies in her district, making history as one of the only transgender elected officials in the country. And so, as we fight against the trans eraser in Florida, I know that we're having these fights alongside our colleagues across the country. and we need to give them our love and support just like they give it to us. So please join me in welcoming Representative Zooey.
Go Montana, guys.
Come on, Florida, how's everyone doing? Thank you so much for having me here tonight. I'm going to jump slightly off script and talk about the referendum on abortion. And I want to talk about in Montana's state constitution, many years ago, we enshrined right to privacy in our healthcare decisions. And even though we have a Republican supermajority now, that decision is what has protected Montanans' access to abortion for the last 30 years. So know that that vote this November can make the difference to protect you down the line. I also want to talk about the attacks that we're seeing, particularly on LGBTQ people. You know, I see the attacks here in Florida trying to erase trans people from every aspect of public life. And it's important, we're seeing that happen in Montana as well. But there's an important note that no matter what they do, they cannot make trans people go away. We will exist. And that is not some shy platitude. Because even if the right had a magic wand that they could wave and every queer person disappeared from Florida, we would be back the very next day because we're part of what it means to be human. And the inverse of that is even if every person who needed to flee the state to find a place where they could be safe were able to do so, we would still need people in the legislature and in Congress fighting for us, because trans people are everywhere and we always will be. And it's important when we look at this and we talk about what does it take to stand up? What does it take to fight for our rights here? A lot of folks will say, oh, it must take courage. You must be very courageous to stand up. And I think it's important to note the way in which courage is something we talk about when we're thinking about repercussions. That's something that addresses what happens after the moment. We don't worry about that here. We stand up for people's rights in my state of Montana and here in Florida because it's the right thing to do. We stand up against gun violence because it's the right thing to do. We call for a ceasefire because it's the right thing to do. And that needs to be what leads us, not questions of what is the fallout, what is the political polling. We lead with a moral heart. And also, if you were wondering to yourself, what does it look like to get involved? What does it look like to fight? I'm proud to be up here with other representatives, but it's important to note that whatever space you feel called to be in is an important space to be in. No matter what we do in the legislature, the work of changing hearts and minds happens in every single room. And I think about that, your job is to find that room and kick the damn door in. I should have Rep. Eskanami behind me 24/7. I'd feel so much better. Lastly, I want to note, we've talked about the fight for bodily autonomy. We know that the attacks are coming after that are attacking abortion are the same that are attacking access to LGBTQ healthcare. We also see the way the attacks are targeted. Yes, they came after me in Montana for speaking out on the trans bill, but they're also coming after my colleagues in Tennessee for speaking out against gun violence. And so we note here in this moment, standing in Florida, that the reason we're showing up is because you don't just need a representative from your area standing up. Every one of us from across the different issues, from across state lines, are fighting together, because that is how we build an America that we can believe in. And with that, it is my great privilege to introduce my dear friend, consummate badass, Representative Justin Joned.
Guys from Tennessee.
You can't stop the revolution.
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 They can't stop our revolution.
They can't stop our revolution.
Look around you, my friends. This is the revolution. From Tallahassee to Tennessee, young people are rising up in a multiracial movement to say to the forces of fascism, fuck you, we won't bow down. It's always crazy to come up myself and be in a place where I have a microphone because I serve as the youngest black lawmaker in my state. And every time I speak, the Speaker of the House shuts off my microphone.
Fuck that guy.
In April of last year, myself and my colleague, Representative Pearson, were kicked out, expelled from the legislature for joining our constituents in protests against a system of plantation politics and white supremacy and capitalism that said the profits of the gun industry mean more than the lives of our students.
That ain't right.
But what they really were trying to silence and kick out was not us. I want to be clear, it wasn't about us. They were trying to kick out the revolution that was happening in our state. When young people took to our state capitol by the thousands and scared the hell out of these rednecks that they had to end session early. That is the power of our revolution. It's a movement that says when you beat us down, we'll rise up stronger. That you can take away a damn title, but you can't take away our purpose of standing for our people, of fighting for our communities with every tool at our disposal, that we will not bow down. And so I serve in a state capitol that had a statue of the first KKK Grand Wizard. And before I was elected, I joined with other young people in my state to say that we're going to take the statue down. Yeah. Because if we cannot remove these symbols of white supremacy that are so blatant, how will we remove the policies that are so much more subtle and sophisticated?
Amen. Amen.
And that statue came down. And now we are going about the work of removing the statutes, the laws, and policies that symbol represents. Because friends, siblings, sisters, and brothers, they don't wear white sheets anymore. They wear suits and ties that are named DeSantis. Bill Zooey, Speaker Sexton, we know who they are. We see you for who you are. And we are unafraid. That is the message of hope in this time. That if we were not powerful, my friends, they would not try with everything they could to silence and intimidate us. But they don't know the lineage of liberation of which we stand in. They don't know that we are a people of progress. They don't know that, look next to you, we stand together. Show me who you're with, that shows me who you are. Baby, we're together. And I want to end by saying this. They tell us that states like Florida, that states like Tennessee, that states like Montana and Mississippi are not worth fighting in. Let me tell you something. We see so much repression in our states because there is so much revolutionary spirit to quell in our states. This is the front line where we fight against authoritarianism. This is the front line where we fight for our communities. And this is a presidential year. They'll be paying a lot of attention to other places, but the South in particular. This has been the pivotal point of transforming this nation from slavery to Jim Crow to James Crow Esquire, who we're fighting today. And we rise up in that legacy to say that it's our time now. We know you're trying to ban history because you're going to be ashamed when history writes your name in the books. But we will be proud where we stood in this time. We'll be proud that we were a people who were unbowed, who were unintimidated, who were unafraid, and did everything in their power, everything, every tool that they had to dismantle these centuries-old systems that have kept us in bondage and tried to divide us from each other. Southern state houses are a critical point. National politics is important, but you can drive down to your state capitol. You can sit in at your governor's office. You can sit in at your legislator's office. You can shut it down. And that is what is needed in this time of moral insanity, where we see bills targeting. We just passed a bill in Tennessee this week where they banned pride flags from schools. Exactly. We're banning flags, but we can't ban the assault weapons that are killing our students. Let's be for real. And so we need young people to show up from space like this and go to your state houses and let them know that this year we will not allow business as usual to continue. It's our time to rise up in a multiracial, multi-generational movement that can transform the South, because if we can change the South, we can change this nation. That is the revolution we're talking about. So power to you all, power to the people, power to you all, and power to the people, and power to us standing together, united, in state houses across this nation. We're united, we stand together, forward together, not one step back.
Let's keep fighting, y'all!